and they do organizational structure, everything, and they evaluate their procedure, they develop a work program, they establish goals, guidelines, standards. And everything is therefore all set, decided, and designed. And then this knowledge is executed and acted upon in society. And you will be very surprised what comes after all those things. They only step C, do they go and see those people who are affected. They start with the government's intentions and purposes. And now they know what they need to do to some people, because in planning you always do something in a place. And that place is already full of people. So the third step is, I suddenly realize I have to do this thing to somebody, so let me go and see their needs and priorities. So only at this point do they start thinking about people. Before it's all science, technical things. Right? This is what the government wants to do, we scientifically think we should do it this way. Okay, then we suddenly realize we do it to other people, and then we go and talk about the needs and priorities. And sometimes the needs and priorities are not the people's needs and priorities, it's about corporate needs and priorities and so forth. It doesn't even really apply to Hong Kong people yet. So they identify needs, government needs, corporate needs, transportation needs, all these things, right? These things are then considered only as part C of the plan. Identify needs and priorities, establish objectives, and develop plan implementation strategy. So you see that they have the planning process and the program time schedule all designed before they go to identify needs and priorities. So it is really not about people, right? And then step D, they publish and implement their plan. This is when the plan is gazetted, and you can go online and see the government outline zoning plan. And then they evaluate the results and review, revise, and update their plan. That's why the outline zoning plan had numbers at the end, how many times it is being revised. Now, this is how rational planning works. After they decide upon the outline zoning plan, they're going to do it to the place and the people. And this has been the way Hong Kong government planning has been done for the past 100-something years. Now, rational planning is often criticized, but it still remains the most common approach to planning because it is rational and therefore easy to justify. And its assumptions is like this. Now, this is the way our government thinks, basically, the textbook version of how our planners are trained. They believe that people behave rationally. That's not true of capitalism because greed is not really rational. Right? Greed is an unlimited drive. People behave rationally. That rationality is a part of everyday life. That people and events are predictable. So those things that are not predictable are either not considered everyday life, not considered people. They're just not considered. So unlimited problem-solving capabilities and perfect information is what they want. And if things are not perfect, ignore it. And they think about cost of information collection, whether things are affordable or not. They care about the ability to identify all alternatives, but they will always tell you there are A, B, C, D plans for tearing down the Queen's Pier, and only plan D is possible. Right? This is how they eliminate all the unpredictable things, all the risks, and all those things they do not want to do will be eliminated at this point. And what is left is all the facts they want. And they think that they have no values. They think that they are totally objective. Right? And they think that because everything is done scientifically, according to procedure, this is the most rational decision, it doesn't involve values. But in fact, the whole policy, right from the start, is biased in favor of certain values. Right? They just don't consider it within their own system. And they use rational deductive forms of understanding things, right? Like if A happens, then B will follow. So they understand this as a technology, a technocratic, bureaucratic process, and they would not admit that it has anything to do with politics, that it has anything to do with involving different interests and power relations and benefits and cost for society. So, but this is the way people are trained to understand themselves in the government planning department. Now, so something quite different, another practice quite different has been generated in society, in business world, and also in civil society for four decades at least. At least more than 3 decades. Other people have been planners too, and at least in Hong Kong, most planners are inside the government. Very few actually work outside, and if they work outside, their clients are usually big corporations. Right? Only very big projects need planners. Sometimes they do not understand that very small projects also need planners. So actually, in some other countries, in the business sector and the civil society sectors, there are also planners, not just government planners.